Okay, we are live. So I want to welcome you to my podcast, which is Awakened Souls. And we are going to talk about grief. Um, Give me a minute here. Um, the reason we're going to talk about grief is I wanted to talk about something that I'm going through right now. So, um, and it's the death of my grandmother. So my grandmother died Tuesday, and we had her funeral yesterday. So I thought this would be something that we would talk about. It's real life, you guys. It's real life. Um, and I just want to talk about grief, about my grief, about and how other people's grief. Um, it might be a little weird today with me because I'm kind of in and out of it. But I've been aware through the whole thing. I'm so glad that I have been a spiritual um, awareness or awareness of my thoughts and my mind and my feelings and what's going on. It's helped me get through this a lot better than if I didn't know. And I've seen members that are still, I'm just going to say 3D, but are not as aware, is what I'm meaning. And it was just wild. Um, so we all grieve differently. I've had people, I've been aware, noticing all the grief. Um, I've been having like a little panic attacks. I've been writing letters, like journaling like crazy. Been having heartburn, stomach's hurting, um, a lot of feelings in my body that I don't usually have. I'm not a very pain person. Um, but that's stuff I've noticed that's going on during this grieving process for me. Also, when somebody passes away, now I want to talk about my grandma. She was 92 and she lived a great life. Um, we all have this childhood trauma, and she definitely had that. And she's had so many patterns that I have broke in her lifetime, and hopefully going to just keep breaking them, generational patterns that are going on. But as far as she had a loving husband, um, loving kids. She did have one kid that passed away, so they're together now. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Um, but we all grieved differently, and I just noticed it, and I did not want to be a judgment to any of it. I noticed some people in our family was saying, this should be this and this should be this. And I'm like, no, everybody's grieving. And the family's got, I mean, we all came together beautifully. Um, it's just everybody does everything different. Some people's yelling and screaming, look at all the things I was doing, just, and the main thing I was wanting to talk about is when somebody passes away, it's like immediately going into like, well, you have to do this, you have to get ready for this, and you have to get ready for that. And it's just so much work and so much getting ready. And then here you're like trying to hold your emotions back, and you can't hold your emotions back. You just have to let them out. That's what I practice. That's why I'm journaling. And I stayed with my grandma a lot when I was a child. So I'll be 55 in March. So for 55 years, I've had my grandma. I've been very lucky. Our family has been very lucky. We've had our grandpa pass like 5 years ago, and then our grandmother, which was 92, and they're both older age. They're both wonderful lives, financially wonderful lives. I'm not going to say everything was perfect because it wasn't, but it's it's just weird. Um, Now, for me, I believe that we are a soul in a body. So our body, goes back to the earth, but our soul's still alive. I believe, this is my belief, that my grandmothers came to me twice now. Um, I've had other family members say the same thing. Um, I've been talking to her in my journaling and stuff like that. I know some people don't think that they can talk to family members, but you can. Um, and basically just listen, journal, or whenever you're thinking about them, just, what would they say to you? And what would they really say to you? And so that's been helpful for me because I have been busy trying to help everyone. Um, plus help myself, plus work a little bit this week. I didn't want to not just work at all. And but it's been sad. It's been awareness. It's been gratefulness because I've got to have her that long. Um there's been so many lessons that she's taught me. Um and 92 years of lineage that I can see what the patterns I've seen, the patterns I've cleared. Um, just oh my gosh, it's just so much history there, and how much things are so differently. So things are so different now than back. I mean, like when she was born, they didn't have TVs, they didn't have any of that stuff, and things have changed just so much. And but I just wanted to talk about that because people need to talk about grief. People need to all be able to grieve in their own way. And some people think, well, she shouldn't have done that, or we shouldn't have done that. And another thing is I noticed is two or three family members that I've talked to, they were saying, well, I should have did this and I should have done that. And I said, we all say that. Every one of us, even me. We should have did this. We should have did that. No, um, we did the best that we could in where we're at. We all do the best that we can at where we're at in our life. Um, some people were screaming, crying. Some people were just being by themselves. Some people were um, not crying. I mean, it was just, and that's how it is. Maybe some people want to cry by themselves. Maybe some people want to journal like me. Maybe I'm having all kinds of pains in my body. What is this? What am I dealing with? Um, but it's a lot of stuff and emotions to do while you're getting ready to do all these other things. It's just now that it's over, everything's over. I think now we can all just sit back and feel what's really going on with ourselves and how we can grieve now. I feel so good though that my grandma got to go with her husband and with her son, and then she has two siblings here, or two daughters here, which is my aunt, my mom. Um, so it's just it's almost like the grieving's going to start now for me because I've been so busy and doing all the things. So I know I'm very wore out today. Um, Not to like I wanna go to sleep, but I'm, like, very wore out emotionally, like, moving slowly. You know, I think emotions can put you down more than just physical. Actually, when I'm doing physical stuff, it seems like I have more energy. In this situation, I'm like, I don't have any energy. I just wanna lay down and take a nap. But, I'm so glad that I got to be aware in this process, as what I mean is being aware, being on my spiritual journey, because I feel so much better about it. I see um, and feel that she's still here with me. Um, at the end of her life, she couldn't even talk to us really. Um, for the last 4 years, she's had dementia. So sometimes she'd know us, sometimes she doesn't. Now, when I feel like I'm talking to my grandma, I'm talking to my grandmother, and it's not like she knows who I am. I actually was laying in the bed and woke up in the middle of the night and felt like somebody was grabbing my arm. And I have never felt like that before. And I just knew. I actually looked up and started crying because I was like, I knew my grandma was here. And so if you believe that your loved ones um, are with you still, and most of us do, um, you can actually talk and be with them. When she was in the body, it was like she was so limited to what she could say to me because she couldn't remember. But now it's like open channel, open, you know, like I said, I can really talk to her. I can feel her. Um, when I was a little girl, I would always go to her house. I would run away. Um, we were just talking about this yesterday. My mom said I would always run away to my grandma's house. I lived with two twin brothers and a sister and my mom, and it was just so hectic when I was a child. I actually, the person that I am, like the spiritual, quiet person I am today, is who I always have been. I'm just remembering it now again. Um, so I was all the craziness that the drama that we had as children. I always wanted to get out of there. I always wanted to, not just now, but always. And I would say, I'm going to my grandma's. I was going to my grandma's because it was peace. And they have pictures of me sleeping on the couch and just having peace and not having to have all the chaos going on all the time. So she was my savior for that, but she helped me so much in my life when I needed help. Just somebody to talk to, somebody to help me if I needed money. Um, she made sure I didn't do without as a child and as an adult also. And so I I praise her. I don't have any. I'm not going to say, well, I don't have any bad feelings at all. I noticed in our life that we do sometimes, and I know when people die they say, oh, this is the best stuff, but all the negative stuff that we believe as human beings is just something to learn from. Any conflict that we ever had was a learning experience. I know when I was going to divorce my husband, um, because of our situation, she was like, well, you should try and you should stay, and we didn't agree on that because I was getting abused and I didn't want to stay, but in her paradigm, she stayed regardless. That's how they did that stuff in those days. Well, they don't do that anymore. So that's one thing we didn't agree on, but I still loved her and I'm still glad that, I got to experience that of her saying that and then me saying, no, we don't do stuff like that anymore, Grandma. We don't have to stay and be in those situations, which she was in the most loving marriage ever. I'm not saying they didn't fight. I'm saying the man that she married, Orville, my grandpa, was one of the loving people. And he just would have never left. And, unconditional love, um, no matter what they went through, he was not going to leave. He was just one of those guys. They were going to work it out some which way or another, and they did. They stayed together for their lifetime, and that was a good example. But in my situation, and in a lot of situations in marriages, we shouldn't have to stay with each other for those. If we're getting abused, and like me, I had to get out. Which was a good turning point on my part. But yeah, I think grieving, people talk a lot like me. They drink, they do drugs, they shop, they avoid. We avoid. A lot of people avoid, including me. I've been doing all the avoidance, but I always come back to my journal, and I always come back to my feelings. I always seem to get downloads, and my grieving is mostly during the night. Um, it's like you walk through the day, like you're doing all these things, have to get all this stuff done. And then when you lay down at night, it's like, you can just breathe and you can feel into your body and you can connect and say, what are you trying to tell me? That's what I've had to do. I've been doing a lot of breath work, breathing very deeply because I did have like a little panic attack a couple times. And I've been doing yoga just to move and just to feel my body and get into a relaxed state because I have been so tense. I mean, I've been driving in the car and it's been like I could feel my body like tense up. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? And I'm actually like sitting in the car trying to relax. because this is a lot to go through. A lot of people are scared of death. I don't think I'm scared of death, but it just seems sad. It seems sad that, we don't get to see that person anymore. Um, I mean, you've seen them all your life. So it is just it's a transition. And I've got my little butterfly shirt on for transition. And my grandma loves um, elephants. So I got this little elephant. I don't know. Let me see if I can, where is it? Elephant with butterflies. It is so cute. I know it's like a little kid's thing, but I was the first grandchild. There's like, I think there was 6, 8 or 6 like that. But I was the first one. So that's it, which doesn't mean anything if a family member is watching this. It just says, just saying that I was the first one. And I always remember just being with her as a child. She was my runaway, my getaway, when I needed peace. And it was sad at the end. It was really sad. They said she wasn't suffering, but when you looked at her, it looked like she was suffering. But she did go pretty quick, so we didn't have to watch her suffer too much. But now she's in a wonderful place, as we all know. And we are all bodies with our spirits in us, and our spirits go back to heaven, and our bodies go to the ground or wherever you cremated or whatever. She was buried, and we had a beautiful service for her, just family. And I liked it like that, like privately, just family. And then when we went to the graveside, then we had a bunch of people that came. But that was nice. I liked it intimate like that, and just your family, and not a lot of people coming up to you going, "Oh, we're sorry, we're sorry." We know everybody's sorry. Everybody is. But I liked it like that. That's something that I would consider myself. Come here, girl. So I guess I better get off here. Let me know how you guys feel about, or how you grieve. Everybody grieves differently. So I am going, I guess I better get off here. Izzy's barking. All right, you guys, love you so much. Thank you for all of the beautiful things that you've said on my grandma's pictures. And thank you for saying that I look like her, because she's such a beautiful lady. I just appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for watching my podcast. And I will be back on next week. We'll see what goes on. Everything's going to be better and better and better. All right. Love you. Bye.